If you want to get into cinematic filmmaking and don't want to be bothered browsing for an expensive camera, this video is for you. Even if you're not here for that and you're just curious, this video is still for you. I will go over which of these phones are the best for cinematic filmmaking. This video's lineup includes the iPhone 16 Pro Max, Galaxy S25 Ultra, Google Pixel 9 Pro, OnePlus 13, and the Sony Xperia 1 Mark 7. To provide an easy to understand breakdown, I will create a few main categories to compare each device. So I'm not just judging by video quality or formats, we'll also look at color and grading flexibility, filmmaking tools, stabilization, workflow and editing, low light performance, audio capture, and of course price to performance value. Let's start with a tried and true classic, the iPhone. The 16 Pro Max has a 48 megapixel fusion camera with a 1.78 aperture. That includes a 12 megapixel 2x telephoto, a 48 megapixel ultra wide with a 2.2 aperture and 120 degree FOV, and a 12 megapixel 5x telephoto lens with a 2.8 aperture, 3D sensor shift optical image stabilization, autofocus, and 25 times digital zoom. It records videos at 4K and 120 FPS for both standard and slow motion, or 1080p at 120 FPS or 720p at 30 FPS. Cinematic mode supports 4K with Dolby Vision at up to 30 FPS. ProRes and ProRAW are also here, exclusive to the iPhone 13 and above. If you don't know what those are, I got you. ProRAW is for still images, and it works by preserving raw sensor data. You get all the light, color, and exposure info before the iPhone compresses it. Basically, it's the purest version of your shot. ProRes is the video counterpart. Minimal compression, high quality frames, a wide color gamut with 10 or 12-bit color depth, and smoother gradients. Because every frame is stored in high fidelity, it's perfect for frame-by-frame slow motion tracking and VFX. Audio sample rates are slightly higher too, about 7 kilohertz more than standard modes, and it's extremely resistant to generation loss. In apps like DaVinci Resolve, Final Cut Pro, and Adobe Premiere, you'll notice fewer generation losses when cutting, rendering, re-exporting, applying effects, transitions, or grading. These two modes alone make shooting on an iPhone a dream. Add that to the already impressive Fusion camera specs, and it's a powerhouse. But since the main focus of this video is about cinematic videos and film, we'll only refer to the ProRes for the rest of the video. The Galaxy S25 Ultra is its own unique case. Granted that this is the phone with the craziest camera specs out of everything on this list. The Galaxy S25 Ultra is equipped with a 200 megapixel wide angle camera with 2x optical zoom, a 10 megapixel telephoto with 3x optical zoom, and a 50 megapixel ultra wide, and a 50 megapixel telephoto with 5x and 10x quality optical zoom. The multiple high quality cameras make close-up shots appear in extraordinary detail. Then you have Samsung's own Pro Visual engine that greatly improves low light performance by optimizing ISP and noise reduction technology. The AI enhancement modifies and improves image quality when zooming, especially at 2x, 3x, 5x, and 10x optical zoom. There's even an object-aware engine that applies a dynamic range of colors to specific objects in an image. The Galaxy S25 Ultra can support up to 8K resolution and 30 FPS, as well as 4K resolution with 120 FPS, and it has HDR10 plus log mode for color grading. Basically, to sum it up, the Galaxy S25 Ultra benefits from a massive 200 megapixel sensor, advanced stabilization, the AI Pro Visual engine, and features like director's view and multi-angle capture. The Pixel 9 Pro boasts a decent camera system with a 50 megapixel wide camera with a 1.68 aperture, a 48 megapixel quad PD ultra wide camera with autofocus and a 1.7 aperture and 123 degree FOV, as well as a 48 megapixel telephoto camera with a 2.8 aperture and 5x optical zoom with 30 times super res digital zoom. It offers 4K video resolution and 60 FPS across all lenses. On paper, there isn't a whole lot I can say for the Pixel 9 Pro, but it does offer some admirable stabilization capabilities. Stabilization on the Pixel 9 Pro may even exceed the likes of the Galaxy S25 Ultra. Although compared to the iPhone 16 Pro Max's sensor shift and EIS combo, we can see who the clear winner is. The iPhone 16 Pro Max is the industry leader when it comes to stabilization. In low light situations, the Galaxy S25 Ultra excels and demonstrates far better sharpness, dynamic range, and color than the Pixel 9 Pro. However, the Galaxy S25 Ultra still retains that oversaturated, messy look and doesn't come out as clean and refined as the Pixel 9 Pro and the iPhone 16 Pro Max. The iPhone 16 Pro Max takes the cake for nighttime shooting because of the HDR advantage that can balance deep shadows and bright highlights, blow out neon signs, and make shots in the sky much clearer and fascinating to look at. The iPhone 16 Pro Max also has less aggressive noise reduction. Now, normally you would hear that and automatically automatically think, oh, it's a bad thing. But unlike the S25 Ultra, it doesn't smear those fine details just for it to have that artificial look. Plus, the iPhone 16 Pro Max excels in nighttime video because of the photonic engine, which is optimized for low light motion, preserving detail without over exaggerating highlights and crushing shadows. The iPhone 16 Pro Max is also renowned for its color accuracy and true to life filmmaking. Now, what about the OnePlus 13 and the Sony Xperia 1 Mark 7? The arrival of the OnePlus 13 shook the smartphone game because of its camera system and a million other things, but we're talking about cameras here. The OnePlus 13 flaunts a 50 megapixel Sony LYT 808 wide camera sensor. The LYT 808 is one of those expensive, high-end sensors known for its photosensitivity and double layer stack design that allows for more light to pass through. It also supports various HDR imaging modes and all pixel autofocus. This camera system revolves around super color accuracy and accurate light reproduction, making it ideal for high quality detailed daytime and nighttime video. However, overall video performance doesn't quite match the iPhone 16 Pro Max, considering it has the benefits of ProRes video mode, the Dolby Vision Advantage, and cinematic mode. Cinematic mode creates a rich depth of field, and it's capable of blurring the background and foreground to make the subject stand out. Cinematic mode also has automatic object identification along with super clean Hollywood focus transitions. It also has excellent stabilization and HDR rich footage. The quality of these features stacked against the OnePlus 13 and Pixel 9 Pro makes them feel slightly underwhelming when it comes to cinematic filmmaking. Despite their heavy processing and impressive specs, the iPhone 16 Pro makes a solid statement at proving that over-the-top specs doesn't necessarily make a camera system good. However, the OnePlus 13 does provide excellent detail and it seems to flourish during those mid-range shots. However, 5x optical zoom on the OnePlus 13 doesn't seem to be as refined as the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Compared to the Pixel 9 Pro, the OnePlus 13 produces very vibrant and high contrast images with a lot of detail. However, it tends to be slightly more overcooked than shooting with the Pixel 9 Pro. The Pixel 9 Pro delivers more natural and lifelike images with accurate colors and balanced dynamic range. Low light performance and zoom capabilities go to the Pixel 9. As I said previously, the OnePlus 13 struggles going past those mid-range shots, and so although videos shot with 6x hybrid zoom are usable, they may exhibit significant softness and noise. However, OnePlus 13 has a very impressive action mode as it offers more flexibility with lens options and it has a higher frame rate viewfinder, so it's ideal for capturing fast-moving subjects in a video, something that gives it a slight edge even against the Galaxy S25 Ultra and the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Finally, we have the Sony Xperia 1 Mark 7. The Sony Xperia 1 Mark 7 fancies a 52 megapixel primary camera at its full aspect. Otherwise, it stunts a 48 megapixel primary camera, a 12 megapixel telephoto camera, and a 50 megapixel wide camera with a 104-degree FOV. The Sony Xperia can support up to 4K resolution with 120 FPS or 1080p resolution with 240 FPS. Sony implemented hybrid stabilization technology for the Xperia 1 Mark 7 with optical steady shot combined with flawless eye technology. This not only enhances optical image stabilization, but electronic image stabilization as well. This helps counteract camera shake and helps reduce blur, especially in low light conditions when walking or running. When it comes to optical zoom options, the Sony Xperia has a lot more variety and flexibility than the iPhone 16 Pro Max, which already gives it an advantage over the iPhone. However, despite earlier mentioned stabilization technology, it doesn't seem to be as effective as the sensor shift in optical image stabilization on the iPhone 16 Pro Max. So that's where the iPhone slightly nudges the Xperia 1 Mark 7. So although they both have a great action mode, the Sony Xperia is noticeably less forgiving. However, with the Sony Xperia 1 Mark 7, you can manually adjust shutter speed and sensitivity, and there's an advanced manual focus that the iPhone 16 Pro Max doesn't offer. There's only tap to focus and automated rack focus with cinematic mode. You can adjust white balance, exposure compensation, and you even have something similar to iPhone's Pro RAW mode. However, 7's alpha style manual controls are more granular for more editing flexibility. There's so much you could say about the Sony Xperia 1 Mark 7, and in fact, I think when it comes to cinematic filmmaking, it may be on par, if not a bit better than the iPhone 16 Pro Max, is what I would say, except for two reasons. One, the iPhone 16 Pro Max has unmatched sensor shift stability, and the Sony Xperia 1 Mark 7 kind of lacks when it comes to overall stability, even when compared to the other top smartphones like the Galaxy S25 Ultra and the Pixel 9 Pro. Second, this will be a great phone for smartphone camera enthusiasts and professionals. cameras. If you're a casual filmmaker or you're not that well versed in the Sony Xperia 1 Mark 7 software, you might not find anything like the iPhone 16 Pro Max when it comes to a simplified, clear-cut UI that's easy to navigate with all the controls at your display. Now, before I wrap up the video and give the final rankings, we still have to discuss price to performance. Now, by default, I would expect the Galaxy S25 to be the most expensive thing on the list. It's actually the second most expensive. Even for its price range, the Galaxy S25 is still a very solid choice for premium filmmaking, as you can still get high resolution, a variety of manual controls, and excellent macro shot performance compared to the other smartphones. However, the iPhone 16 Pro Max is slightly cheaper than the Galaxy S25 Ultra, with more to offer for video performance. So you may fancy that a bit more, especially if you want to factor in the Apple ecosystem and AirDrop. However, the most expensive thing on this list is the Sony Xperia 1 Mark 7. Guess how much it costs? The Sony Xperia 1 Mark 7 costs £1,400, which is the equivalent of $1,800 US. So if you're a professional filmmaker who doesn't care to blow a bag on the Sony Xperia 1 Mark 7, this might be the phone for you. Otherwise, I would recommend either the Galaxy S25 Ultra or the iPhone 16 Pro Max. However, if those two phones are still a little bit too expensive, the Pixel 9 Pro and OnePlus 13 are excellent choices. The OnePlus 13 is actually cheaper than the Pixel 9 Pro, and it's even cheaper now than its original price because of a sale that's currently happening on the OnePlus site. The Pixel 9 Pro has excellent AI-assisted stabilization capabilities, along with the easy-to-navigate Pixel Pro's processing tools and excellent low-light capabilities. Finally, the moment you all been waiting for. Here are the rankings for the best cinematic smartphones. At number 5, we have the OnePlus 13. At number 4, we have the Pixel 9 Pro. At number 3, we have the Sony Xperia 1 Mark 7. At number 2, and this might come as a bit of a shock, we have the Galaxy S25 Ultra. That means the number 1 spot goes to the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Again, if you're okay with spending an extra $700 for the Sony Xperia 1 Mark 7, then hey, it may be your number 1. Even then, I think it's still pretty close. That's the end of this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Please make sure you like and subscribe and share your thoughts in the comment section if you agree or disagree with the rankings. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.